Twitter's acquisition by Elon Musk has been eventful to say the least. The acquisition has been touted as the largest leveraged buyout. While others praised him for being a genius, others mocked him for buying a sinking ship. The acquisition has equally been marred with a slew of lawsuits, which included a very enthralling anecdote into how a lump sum payment of $84 million was paid to a law firm just short of 10 minutes before closing of the merger acquisition. So how did it all start? Elon Musk's entanglement with Twitter began in January 2022, purchasing Twitter shares. By March 14, 2022, he owned about 5% of the company's outstanding shares. While he was mandated by the SEC to disclose his stake, he remained recalcitrant. Until 4th April 2022, one news outlet broke the news that Elon Musk was now the largest shareholder of Twitter, owning 9.2% of the company's outstanding shares. With such ownership stake, it came with much adulation, as Elon Musk, who was already a cult of personality, gained 112 million followers on Twitter in just a short time. As the largest shareholder, Elon Musk had a lot to say. He would double between purchasing Twitter, being on the board of Twitter, and stating that he was to create an app that would rival Twitter. On March 26, 2022, Elon Musk intimated interest in joining Twitter's board. Twitter's board was amenable to his interest, as they offered Musk a board member position on April 3rd. He would eventually sign a letter of agreement on April 5th, 2022. However, this wouldn't last long, as on April 13th, 2022, in a perceived hostile takeover, Elon Musk issued an unsolicited offer to Twitter's board, where he made an offer to purchase 100% of Twitter for $54.20 per share, and with a total acquisition cost of $44 billion. Musk claimed that this was his final and best offer. Elon Musk would taunt Twitter's board with tweets such as "Love me tender," and he equally touted that his offer was seller-friendly, as it was devoid of stringent conditions, which included no due diligence and no financial conditions. Twitter's board would eventually unanimously determine to approve the merger, as it was in the best interest of Twitter and its stockholders. In the merger agreement, X Holdings Incorporated, the parent company of X Holding 2, the subsidiary company, would enter into a merger agreement with Twitter Incorporated, which would be acquired by X Holding Inc., the parent company which was wholly owned by Elon Musk. Twitter's board would put to task Goldman Sachs as independent advisors in the acquisition of Twitter. Twitter's financing has been touted as the largest leverage buyout. Simply put, a leverage buyout is where an acquirer of a target company takes on debt to cover part of the purchase acquisition, while the rest of the purchase price is backed by equity. Thus, Twitter's acquisition by Musk for $44 billion was propped up by debt and equity. On April 20, 2022, Musk pledged $46.5 billion, which was broken into $21 billion in equity financing and $25.5 billion in debt financing, with $12.5 billion secured by Tesla's shares. In terms of the debt that Elon had acquired, $13 billion of the purchase price, the $13 billion was funded by Morgan Stanley in a commitment letter dated April 25, 2022. The debt was broken into three: $6.5 billion as a term loan facility, $500 million as a revolving loan facility, and $6 billion of a bridge facility. The margin loan was $12.5 billion, which was secured by $62.5 billion worth of Tesla stock, which was about 62 million shares at the time of signing. Elon's acquisition of Twitter was equally propped up by equity. In an equity commitment letter dated April 20, 2022, Musk agreed to provide $21 billion in equity to fund the purchase price. This pledge was tied to Tesla stocks. However, this was a precarious stake. This is because if Tesla stock tanked, Musk would have to show up more of his Tesla's equity. This would eventually unravel on April 25, 2022, as Musk sold 9.8 million Tesla shares at $822 per share, a significant fall on prices from $1,000 per share at the time of the merger signing. Due to Tesla's plummeting stock, he was faced with a conundrum, having to show up more of Tesla stock. However, there would be a sigh of relief, as on 5th May 2022, he announced an additional $7.1 billion of equity from 19 investors, which included but not limited to $1 billion from Oracle chairman Larry Ellison, $800 million from Sequoia Capital, and $375 million from a subsidiary of a Qatari sovereign wealth fund. On May 24th, 2022, Elon Musk would deviate from his loan commitment, as he proposed a new equity commitment letter to increase Musk's equity commitment to $33.5 billion. The financing of the acquisition, while it was a debilitating feature of the merger, it was not so much of a concern for Elon Musk as spam bots on Twitter. Elon Musk would goad Twitter into a fight over Twitter's representation to the SEC, that the app estimated that the average false or spam accounts represented were fewer than 5% of the monetizable daily active users. Twitter argued that it stemmed out false and spam accounts using rigorous manual and automated processes. Elon Musk was now the incoming owner of Twitter, had waged war over spam bots. He made it tacitly clear on April 21, 2022, that if his Twitter bid succeeds, he would defeat the spam bots or die trying. This would lead to Elon Musk requesting Twitter for firehose data that would avail him insight into the accuracy of spam bots on Twitter. With reservations, Twitter supplied him with this information, but they had reservations as to the data protection protocols which Musk would endeavor to employ to protect Twitter's data. Twitter would supply Elon with the firehose data, and upon Elon's research, he concluded that far from the 5% Twitter had represented, the percentage was actually much higher. That was at 20%. Elon would hold this card over Twitter, claiming it was a breach of contract as it was an inaccurate representation. Elon would be in contention again with Twitter over its employment retention program. Musk was now perceived of looking for an exit strategy would make the culmination of the merger an arduous task. Twitter, seemingly looking out for its own, had laid out an employee retention plan which included reserving the right to hire and fire employees without Musk's consent, which became a bone of contention as Musk would be unwilling to be amenable to the employee attrition. This would spark outrage much later, as we have seen on Twitter, as Elon Musk, following his acquisition of Twitter, he would fire most of the employees and would be embroiled in a class action lawsuit suing him for violating the One Act, which requires a 60-day notice before a mass layoff. On July 8, 2022, Elon Musk took a tangent that was deemed detrimental to the merger acquisition, as through his lawyers, he would seek to terminate the merger agreement on 3 main grounds. Elon Musk would claim purported breach of information sharing. However, this was thwarted by Twitter by asserting that they had given Musk the firehose data. Secondly, that there were materially inaccurate representations likely to result in a company material adverse effect. Twitter rebutted this by claiming Musk's beliefs is not proof of misrepresentation and there was no evidence to support his belief. Musk was still holding up his card in regards to the actual representation of spam bots on Twitter. Thirdly, Elon would claim that Twitter failed to comply within the ordinary course of the covenant by terminating certain employees, slow hiring, and failure to retain key personnel. Twitter again thwarted this notion by asserting that Elon Musk unreasonably withheld consent in regards to the employee retention program. Twitter also taunted Elon Musk with his own phrase that the acquisition was seller-friendly, which did not require due diligence nor financial conditions. Twitter would proceed to sue Elon Musk for breach of contract, sought orders for specific performance of the completion of the acquisition. On October 28, 2022, Elon Musk fully acquired Twitter, but that didn't stop him from suing Twitter's lawyer. So how exactly did we get here? Given the looming litigation against Musk for breach of contract and to enforce specific performance so that Elon Musk would complete the acquisition of Twitter, with this, Twitter would retain the law firm of Wachtel, Lipton, Rosen and Katz, which had gained some notoriety after billionaire Carl Icahn sued the law firm for malpractice in regards to his acquisition of CRV back in 2012. The leading law firm would reach out to Twitter, intimating interest to be retained on legal services in regards to this legal suit against Elon Musk. Twitter would be amenable to retaining the legal services of Wachtel and sent them the standard engagement terms. In a peculiar request, the law firm implored Twitter to eliminate the 15% discount on hourly fees that was espoused in Twitter's standard engagement terms. Twitter would be amenable to this request and disregarded the 15% discount on hourly fees charged by the law firm. On 21st June 2022, the Wachtel attorneys would serve Twitter's lawyers with an engagement letter for appending of their signature. In the letter, it's believed that the fees was charged on an hourly basis rather than on a contingent or success fee. Twitter's lawyers appended their signature, and the Wachtel law firm would institute a merger litigation in Delaware Chancery Court on 12th July 2022. In the next 3 months, Wachtel law firm would send 3 hourly based invoices. This included the August 26th hourly invoice. This hourly invoice totaled $5.6 million for 5,140 hours billed. The second invoice would be the September 28th hourly invoice, which totaled $12 million. The October 26 invoice would be the most contentious, as the invoice would total a whopping $90 million. In a sigh of relief, on October 4, 2022, Musk would put an end to the merger litigation by acquiescing to the closing of the merger agreement on the original terms with a determined timeline, October 28, 2022. On October 11th, Musk requested Twitter regarding expected transaction fees, which included legal fees. However, this request would fall on deaf ears. On October 13th, 2022, the Watchell team and Twitter's litigation department, brimming with exuberance, celebrated the success of the merger litigation and the close of the merger. In a peculiar twist, in a perceived 11th-hour renegotiation of Watchell's fee agreement was discussed. This fee arrangement seemed to alter the June 21st engagement letter, as this agreement was based on an hourly basis legal billing. In the new fee arrangement, it will also include a contingency fee or a success fee. Just 8 days of the merger closing, on October 20th, 2022, Watchell would issue Twitter with a draft fee memo of work done for a whopping $95 million. The memo explicitly stated that the law firm charged Twitter's engagement fee as a percentage of the bankers' fees who are on board as independent advisors. The percentage ranged from 60 to 80%. The memo equally stated that in matters involving substantial litigation, the law firm would employ premium billing in its invoice based on a percentage of the run rate. For corporate defense against hostile takeovers, the percentage was 3 times the run rate. On October 24, 2022, Watchell would issue a fee note for $90 million as the final fee immediately payable prior to the closing of the transaction. They equally stated that if the transaction would not be completed by October 28, 2022, they would continue billing their legal fees on an hourly basis. On October 25, 2022, the August hourly invoice was fully paid for $5.7 million. As for the September invoice and the October invoice, they required a board meeting approval for disbursement of funds. On October 27, 2022, a day short of the closing of the merger, Musk requested Twitter to immediately discontinue all outbound payments, disbursements to third parties in order to facilitate Musk's payment towards acquisition of Twitter. Complete disregard of Musk's directive, just hours before the close of merger, Twitter's board held a meeting at 7 a.m. to execute the closing day letter agreement and to commit to paying Watchell $84 million. This amount arose from deducting $5 million of the August invoice that was already paid out of the $90 million. At the meeting, most of the board members were kept in the dark on the astronomical fee, with one of the members, upon seeing the amount, exclaiming, "Oh my freaking God." Despite the shock, the board executed the letter of agreement and ratified the fees, which included the September 28 hourly invoice for $12 million. Twitter asked Watchell lawyers to send them a final invoice after paying the September invoice, but due to lapse in time, they cancelled the $12 million and instead, just a mere 10 minutes before the merger transaction closed, Twitter's accounting department wired to Watchell $84 million from Twitter's Citibank account, and the wire was processed and posted at 3:50 p.m. Following the close of merger, Elon Musk would unearth details following an intricate investigation on the legal fees that was paid to Watchell. Musk would eventually end up locked in a legal battle with Twitter's former lawyers for what he termed as illegal and unconscionable fee. In the suit dated 5th July 2023, Elon Musk sued the law firm of Watchell for unjust enrichment for breach of fiduciary duty to its clients by altering the fee agreement, the July 21st engagement letter, to charge unconscionable fees that was against the California professional ethical rules of conduct. He equally roped in Twitter's directors on breach of fiduciary duty owed to Twitter, as directors were to act in the best interest of Twitter and not pay the exorbitant fees. Equally, Elon Musk sued Watchell lawyers for violating California and New York rules of professional conduct that prohibit lawyers from soliciting gratuitous gifts or substantial gifts from their clients. Musk argues that Watchell improperly solicited a substantial gift of a success fee for a whopping $90 million. Equally, the California rules of professional conduct prohibit lawyers from charging an unconscionable fee. Musk argued that the closing day letter agreement was unlawful as it lacked material facts required by the California law for contingency fee contracts under the California Business and Professional Code. Elon Musk sought orders from the court to void the closing day letter agreement fee payment, and equally he sought restitution and disgorgement of fees.